Right, let's talk about Rubicon stage. What is the Rubicon stage and why it's called the Rubicon stage? I don't know why it's called the Rubicon stage. I really don't. But let me explain to you what it is. I'll explain it to you by explaining the stages of a child's development from what I've learned from hundreds of thousands of clients I've worked with. Not hundreds of thousands of clients. When a child is born, they're born. All new. They've got 9 months of experience. That 9 months in the womb is an experience. Children are born with an accent. They are learning from the womb. My friend just had a baby, and that baby knows mum's voice. Room full of children, baby knows mum's voice. Room full of people, baby knows mum's voice. Only days old. So children are learning in the womb. Then they're born. First 3 years, they believe they are the mother. They don't separate. It's because they've been born, they haven't worked out yet that they aren't still the mother. Around 3 years old, they start to separate from the mother. They then separate from the mother. And around 3.5 years old. The next stage, from 3 to 5, 3 to 7, I apologize, is them redefining what they learned from 3 to 5, redefining walking, standing, talking, eating, understanding parents, connecting to parents, redefining from 3 to 7 years old. At 7 years old, they go from unconscious awareness to conscious awareness. So the child goes from the unconscious awareness of a 4-year-old, 5-year-old, that is the train, that wants to be a kitten and meows for hours and hours on end, days and days, They are that thing. They are in the unconscious brain. When they become in the conscious brain, over a period between 5 and 8 years old, over that period of time, when they connect into the conscious brain, they then, I am a train driver. I want to look after a kitten. I want my own kitten. It's a difference. I am comes into play. Now, in that point of time, when you pass over into conscious awareness completely, whatever stress is going on for the child under 7 becomes 0. So if a child is 50% stress, their 0% stress at 7 years old, 8 years old, is 50% stress. So when you're 35, 40 years old, and you think you're chilled out, you're still holding your childhood distress and stress in your body, unless you've processed that. So now we're talking about 7, 8 years old, they get used to that, and then 8, 9, 10, 11 years old comes in. And this is the Rubicon stage. This is the stage where the child is now going to be bouncing off the parent. Challenging. Who am I in my world? Who am I in my life? Who is my parent, and how am I going to deal with it? And they bounce, and they bounce, and they bounce, and they fight, and they argue, and they go into depression. And today their best friend at school was Bob, and tomorrow we hate Bob. Today I want to see this, tomorrow I don't like this. Food. For 8 years my son loved scrambled egg. Now he doesn't eat scrambled egg, 8, 9, 10 years old. He's changing his diet, he's pushing everything. From 8 to 11, 12 years old, they're pushing everything. After 12, they're going to go into the puberty stage, 13, 14, 15, which we're not going to discuss right now. That's another complete story, which I'm probably never going to discuss because it's so confusing. But this Rubicon stage, the child is trying to identify who they are in their world. Re-identify. Am I allowed to do this? Am I able to stand up to my parents? Am I allowed to swear? My parents swear? Am I allowed to swear? Am I allowed to do this? Am I allowed to do that? This big deal of understanding who they are, and parents struggle with this. It is hard work, because the child is bouncing against the parent constantly, bouncing against the siblings constantly, bouncing against friends constantly, all triggered towards the parent, so the parent can say, it's okay for you to feel that. It's okay for you to experience that. It's okay for you to be like that. It's not okay for you to do that. The parent to put in the boundaries in place, putting boundaries gently in place so the child understands. If we're constantly putting the child down for being in the Rubicon stage, we're setting ourselves up for a very difficult teen stage. We have to understand that in the Rubicon stage, 8, 9 years old to 11, 12 years old, the child needs to understand and connect to the parent. For me, it's the most unstable part of a child's development. Clients say to me, what age shouldn't I get divorced? What age should my children be? If you're getting divorced and your children are between 9 and 11, you need to do work with your children. You need to be there with them. both you and the other parent need to be there with them. Because from 9 to 11, 8 to 12, that period of time, that child is in the most insecure period of their lives. They need to define who they are in themselves before they hit puberty. That is the Rubicon stage. The best thing you can do with your children in the Rubicon stage is connect with them. Pay attention to them. Don't have to give in. I can see you want that. I understand you want that, but we can't afford that. I see you want that. I understand you want that, but I don't believe that's good for you. That's inappropriate TV for your age. When you're older, you can see that. That's constantly putting boundaries in. But not just no. A boundary isn't a no. That's a violent trauma process. A boundary is, this is why it's no. Because I want to be the best parent I can be. My job is to protect you, therefore you can't have that. These boundaries in place with explanations, common sense explanations, not because I said so. That's what the kid's going to bounce at again. Bounce and bounce and push and push. But when you can explain, re-educate, then in the Rubicon stage, the child will grow and be ready for puberty. Depression in kids is, from my point of view, okay, and I have discussed depression with psychologists, doctors of psychology, and whenever I ask people to define what depression is, they give me symptoms. For me, depression is simply one process: unprocessed emotion. It's, my belief is 4 emotions that aren't being processed properly: fear, hurt, sadness, and anger. They're not allowed to be processed. And in the previous videos, I talk about not making your children happy. If you're trying to make your children happy the whole time, you're not engaging with their fear, not letting them engage with their fear, their sadness, their hurt, and their anger. You're taking away the opportunity to deal with it and try to make them happy, buying them things, giving them things. So depression in teenagers is when they haven't had that boundaries in the Rubicon stage, when they haven't had that ability for a parent to listen to them, to hear them, even though they're not giving in to them, even though they're not getting what they need, what they believe they need. But the parent being a parent, you're setting up the child to have confidence in their emotions, confidence in their parents to deal with stuff. That's why the Rubicon stage is so important, because it sets up children not to be depressed, to learning how to process what creates depression. Unprocessed emotion, unprocessed feelings, unprocessed being heard, unprocessed being seen, unprocessed being understood. Understand and hear and see your children. That is a parent's job. Understand and see and hear your children. Don't have to give them what they want. Don't have to give in, but you have to communicate. You have to tell them why and educate them. That's what's being a parent. We finished recording the Rubicon stage, and I wanted to add something more into it. If you are having difficulty with your children in this Rubicon stage, if you are finding it difficult to cope with them, and you're feeling overwhelmed, don't worry about it. Just start doing what I've said. Just start listening to them. Just start engaging with them. Just start trying to, and just keep on going. As soon as you think about it, as soon as you realize that you're not hearing and understanding and connecting to your child, and they're bouncing off of you, as soon as you understand what's going on, start engaging and listening and re-educating. This is important. Everything can be reversed. Everything can be undone if you start engaging correctly with your children. And I'm not saying my way is the correct way for your children, but engaging with your children in your way, engaging, connecting, holding a space for being with, that's important. You know, your child's into football, play football. If your child is playing computer games the whole time and doesn't want to stop playing computer games, go and ask them to teach you how to play that game. Go and engage with them on the same level. Don't wrong them for doing it. Go in and engage with them. Okay, and say, oh, this reminds me of that. Let's go try this. Let's go try that. Oh, you like that? Oh, cool. Hang on a second. Maybe we can get some lessons in this. Or maybe you can start doing a martial art. Or maybe you can start doing shooting at a shooting club, or start archery lessons, or we can set up something at home, or try something with aiming You can buy real cheap things to shoot things, at home, and learn target shooting, aiming, focusing the whole body, positioning the body. You can engage in these things. You can take them out of these alignments by engaging at their level as much as you possibly can, and then re-educating. Your children want you in their lives. Not practical only, dinner, school runs. They want you in their lives. They want you to be engaging. They don't want you to go to the park and play with them when they're playing with their friends, but they want you engaging. How was it going with your friends? What happened? What games were you playing? What were you doing? And if they answer or don't answer, it doesn't make a difference. You're still engaging. Go and engage with your children. Everything can be made better. Thank you.